When we are doing urban bee farming, one, we want to look at the safety of the people around. So how do we place our hives to make sure that it is safe for the people around you? You know, the bees have a specific level they move on. So if you put it low, that means they are going to move at a lower level. So people around you will not be safe because they will be knocking people. So when they knock you, they sting you. So what do? Let's assume this is our corner, and then this is our hive, this is the entrance. So you make sure there is something at least above the level where people pass. Why do we put it? Because when the bee gets out, it will fly up and then fly at the level where people don't reach. Now, like here, there are very many bees there, but they are not knocking you because they are moving from up. We put some board. So that is one consideration. So once you do that, you avoid all accidents, like bees interacting with people. So each of you will not notice the presence of each other. Then two, the skills. You should have at least management skills. How to manage your hive. One, how do you keep it safe? Like, you don't shake it. You don't have like animals around you, for example, like a cow, a goat, a sheep. Dogs are okay because for them they don't come near bees. They sense them from a distance. So you should have the skills of managing that hive. And then probably the forage is not a problem because we are in town. Actually, these hives in town, the production is higher than the ones in the bush, because they pick forage from so many places. There are many flowers around. There's a lot of nectar around. So you don't have to worry about the environment. Then the noise. You should not be like, for example, next to the northern bypass where there's a lot of noise interaction. Bees don't like that noise. As you can see, this place, it is calm. So there's not much noise. Hive maintenance. As we are going to see at the hive, one, you should place it at a stand. You should place your hive on a firm stand so that even when you're not around, the hive should not fall down. That is one. Then that stand below, you should make sure there are no insects, because bees are also disturbed by red ants, like the insects, the small insects, the doodles. Yeah, they disturb them a lot. So when you're placing it down, make sure at least you put some stones. So in case you notice some insects, you can put some doodoo powder just to chase away those small insects. And then it should not be under direct sunlight, because the bees don't need something cold and they don't need a very hot place. So it should be moderate. Some of the plants that have nectar and forage, one is coffee. Yeah, coffee is a very good source of nectar for the bees. And then eucalyptus, there's eucalyptus types that flower. Actually, when you see that white flower, it is very good for the bees because it has a lot of nectar. So then you look at fruits like avocado. You know, most of the bee farmers are hash avocado growers or coffee growers. And then you look at the wild flowers, like blackjack is also one of them. Sele, yeah, that is also good. So you look at caliandra. Caliandra, we have a small caliandra growing next to our hives. We shall be seeing it. Then you look at bananas. Banana plantations are also good for the bees. And then yeah, many other small flowers. Any flower that you see a bee falling on, you should preserve it. Yeah, bees are the largest pollinators on earth. So as your coffee beans develop, they need pollination. So if you're having bees placed around your coffee garden, then the production will double, because there's no flower that will go unpollinated. In a small space, usually depends on the level of skills for a specific farmer, but like you can use basically the two modern types, because the modern types can be inspected. you can open it, realize if there's any disease, you treat it. So those are the hives that I would recommend, like farmers who are like doing urban farming to use. One of them is the Kenyan top bar, that is a top bar hive, and then the Langstroth. Though the Langstroth beehive is also another type, but requires some specific level of skills. Yes, you know, bees can enter in anything. You can use car tires to rear bees. You can use pots to rear bees. And you can also use some local hives made out of papyrus. We have a type here that we shall also look at. So bees can be reared from anything. Yeah, the disadvantage with these local hives, the ones that are not like modern hives, it's like they are very hard to inspect. So when you're harvesting, basically you only go for harvest. You put in your hand and pull out. But now like these modern hives, you can easily inspect comb by comb. You put it back. This is a top bar. You inspect comb by comb and put it back. Whereas the other one, you'll just pull out everything. You'll be destroying. That is one of the advantages that they have. We call it baiting. Setting up a hive, like attracting bees into the hive, is baiting. And baiting, we either use like lemongrass. These are the leaves. You can crush those fresh leaves and smear them. Sante, cut for me some of those leaves. You can cut some of these fresh leaves. You crush them. You can put in some little water. Then you smear inside. So once you smear inside, you're creating a very nice scent for the bees. Then you hang it up at a specific level where the scent can easily move. So in less than a month, you will have bees inside here. And then other people in the village, they also smoke this hive with cow dung. You lit cow dung with fire and then you smoke it. That is one way of also attracting bees into the new hive. Then you can use the wax. As you can see this top bar here. Get me some wax there, Asante. Yeah, you can also melt wax and pour in this groove here. It also attracts bees into the new hive. One. Yes, yes. Then you can also use lemongrass oil. These leaves here, there's oil that we extract. This is the wax. It's gotten out of the honeycomb. You melt it, then you place it here the way you see this. That also attracts bees. Or you can get oil which is extracted from these leaves. Then it also attracts bees. The bees feed on the pollen. They depends on the stage. When they are still in the larva stage, they feed on pollen. When they are mature, they feed on the honey as well. If it is the queen, it feeds on a special food called royal jelly. And the drones also feed on the honey. Okay, there's what we call like bee feeding. Bee feeding, bees feed on cassava flour. You can feed them on cassava flour. They can feed on soya flour. But when you're buying the cassava flour, you have to go to the market, because if it is fermented and it was crushed when it is smelling bad, that specific flour the bees will not feed on it. So if you're to buy, you go like in a market like Owino, you specify like a bag where you're seeing bees falling. That's the one you buy from. So you can put there and you feed. You see I've crushed the leaves, now they are already coming on my hands. So you can specify that flour, then you feed on them. Then there's also sugar water. Sugar water boosts their energy. Like you get 1 kilo of sugar, mix it with 3 liters of water, and then put in a drinker. You put in a drinker. This is water. You put in a drinker, and then the bees will come within a minute. They can finish this like within less than 30 minutes. Then you can also feed them on like honey. You mix honey with water. You put in a drinker, they will still come and feed if you want to increase your production. Now, like for example, people who are doing urban bee farming, we don't recommend you to have very many hives. But if you can only have 4 hives, they can produce honey which is equivalent to 10 hives, like someone who is having them somewhere in their farm, once you concentrate on the feeding. Depends on your capacity. Yeah, I don't recommend you to feed them every day because you make them lazy. Yeah, they have to go out and pollinate the plants. So at least once in a week, you can give them feeds. That is by feeding them, by making sure they have no pests. You ensure maximum productivity of the bees by like making sure they are not disturbed by pests and diseases. So you inspect them at least like twice in like, okay, once a month is okay. Then you make sure that you feed them as well, supplementary feeding. Then they will produce the required amounts of honey. Yeah, by placing, you ensure the safety of bees and the people surrounding, like people around you, by placing the hives well in a right manner. Like you press them towards the wall so that their flying level is not as low as where the people pass. Okay. We usually have like, you can break them down into the worker bees. Worker bees are the bees that you see outside moving, the ones that sting you. So even the worker bees are classified according to their work. There are those that have just hatched from the eggs. Those ones don't move out. They are called nurse bees. For them, their work is to turn the larvae and to feed the queen and to clean the hive. Those are the nurse bees. But they are also part of the worker bees. So as they grow, they are forced outside to go and look for forage. Pollen, nectar, those are the worker bees. Then we have the drone bees. The drone bees, usually they are like 9 to 10% of the population in the hive. So their work is basically to mate with the queen. And the queen mates once in a lifetime. So when they become too many in a hive, they are chased away to starve because they consume honey, a lot of honey. So they are limited numbers. And then we also have the queen. The queen is the mother of the colony. It's the one that lays all those eggs where the drone bees come from, where the worker bees come from. And like a very healthy queen lays like 1,500 eggs to like 3,000 eggs in a day. That's a healthy queen. And the queen lasts between 3 to 5 years old. So when you find it in its youthful age, it's laying like lots of eggs. But the laying also depends on how the food is coming in, the forage in the hive. Ensuring the health and the well-being of a bee colony is by feeding it, we talked about it, and making sure it is disease-free. It has no pests disturbing it. A healthy hive, when you the signs of a healthy hive, like you stand outside and you see the traffic coming in and out. Once you spend like a minute without seeing a bee, then that's a weak colony. It's not healthy. But like a healthy colony, you will see very many bees trying to fight to come in and out. That's a healthy colony from just a look. Urban beekeepers can harvest honey and other related bee products by like specifying which hives they want to use. Each hive gives you a specific product. Now, like if you want to harvest propolis, it's easier for someone to use a Kenyan top bar. That one gives you a lot of propolis. If you want to harvest honey, you can concentrate on a Langstroth hive. Then that one gives you a lot of honey. Like you can harvest it even like 4 times in a year if you do supplementary feeding. So you specify which type and which products basically you want, and then you work towards achieving that. The extraction process. The extra.
You can explain it, then we shall do the action. Is that
okay? Yeah, it's okay. Asante, bring that extractor here. Yeah, let's assume that we are using our Langstroth. Bring for me the other frame. That stand. Yeah, that one. So we have two types. This is the top bar, and then this is the frame for the Langstroth hive. They are different. So when we are, can bring for me a bucket inside there with a honey gate. So when we are harvesting honey from a top bar hive, you'll find our comb built like this. What do? Yes, we get a knife and cut it off, then put it in a bucket. That's the KTB. And then for the Langstroth, we pick our frame from the beehive. The bees build a comb in this space. Then we get our fork and remove the capping. That is the seal that the bees put to protect the honey from falling out. We put it here. Then inside this extractor, then we roll it. We spin out the honey. You can come close. So as we spin out the honey is getting out of the comb and going into the tank. Then it goes through this hole into the bucket. So we collect our honey from this bucket. We put back this comb without destroying it. So the bees make a few repairs and they start refilling the honey. That's why we harvest more times in a Langstroth than the KTB. Remember, the KTB, we have cut off everything, and the bees, you can bring some of the honey there in a container. And the bees have to rebuild the entire system. But here, we have spinned out the honey and the combs have remained. So they don't have to rebuild the entire system, but make a few repairs, and then they refill the honey. So here, if you do supplementary feeding, you can even harvest it in a container. We can harvest it like 4 times in a year, whereas this top bar we harvest it twice in a year because of the method of extraction. So this is how a honeycomb looks like, the one from the top bar. So the one we get from this Langstroth, this is how it is. So the one we get from here is purely liquid. It doesn't have the honeycomb. So here, after removing this liquid, those combs that you see, we squeeze them, we boil them and sieve them, and then we get out this wax.